In a small village called Umuife, there lived a woman named Mama Neka. She was famous for her delicious meals, especially her rich, spicy meat stew. Everyone in the village loved her cooking, and they often came to her house to buy food. Mama Neka's meat stew is the best in the whole world, people would say. Mama Neka was kind and cheerful, always smiling as she served her customers. She had a daughter, Neka, who was 10 years old. Neka loved helping her mother in the kitchen. She would chop vegetables and stir the pot while her mother cooked. But there was something strange about Mama Neka. She never let anyone see where she got her meat. One night, when the moon was bright and the village was quiet, Neka couldn't sleep. She decided to go to the kitchen to get some water. As she passed by her mother's room, she saw Mama Neka putting on a long black wrapper and carrying a big sack. Where is Mama going at this time of the night? Neka wondered. Curious, she quietly followed her mother. Mama Neka walked through the dark village, holding a lantern. She went past the market, past the church, and straight to the village graveyard. Neka's heart was beating fast. Why is Mama going to the graveyard? She thought. When Mama Neka reached the graveyard, she stopped at a fresh grave. She put down her lantern and started digging. Neka gasped but quickly covered her mouth. She hid behind a tree and watched as her mother dug deeper and deeper. After a while, Mama Neka pulled out a body from the grave. Neka felt like screaming, but she was too scared to make a sound. She watched as her mother wrapped the dead body in a sack and carried it home. Neka followed her mother, her small legs trembling with fear. Back in the kitchen, Mama Neka placed the sack on the table. She carefully opened it and began cutting the body into pieces. She hummed a song as she walked, as if nothing was wrong. Neka couldn't believe her eyes. Is this where Mama gets the meat for her stew? She whispered to herself. Mama Neka finished cutting the meat and placed it in a pot. She added spices, tomatoes, and palm oil. The smell of the stew filled the kitchen, but Neka no longer thought it smelled delicious. Her stomach churned. As the stew cooked, Neka quietly ran back to her room. She couldn't sleep the rest of the night. She kept thinking about what she had seen. What should I do? She wondered. Should she tell someone? Should she confront her mother? Or should she keep quiet? The next morning, the villagers came to buy food as usual. "Oh, Mama Neka, this stew is even sweeter today," said Papa Ifani, licking his fingers. Neka stared at them, feeling sick. She wanted to shout, "Don't eat it. It's not real meat." But the words stayed stuck in her throat. As the day went on, Neka realized she couldn't keep quiet forever. She had to decide what to do. But how could she expose her own mother without bringing shame to her family? And what if no one believed her? Neka spent the rest of the day in silence, watching her mother serve the stew to happy villagers. Each time someone complimented the taste, Neka's stomach tightened. She couldn't eat. She couldn't even look at her mother. Later that evening, when all the customers had gone and the house was quiet, Mama Neka called out to her daughter. "Neka, my child, come here and help me wash the dishes." Neka hesitated but got up slowly. She didn't want her mother to suspect that she knew the truth. As they washed the dishes together, Mama Neka hummed a song, the same one she had sung the night before at the graveyard. Neka's hands trembled as she scrubbed the pot. "Neka, are you feeling okay? You've been quiet all day," Mama Neka asked, looking concerned. "I'm fine, Mama," Neka replied quickly, forcing a smile. But Mama Neka was not convinced. "You can tell me if something is bothering you," she said gently. Neka wanted to scream, "Why are you cooking dead people?" But she bit her tongue. Instead, she nodded and said, "I'm just tired, Mama." That night, Neka couldn't sleep again. Her mind was racing. What if her mother went back to the graveyard tonight? What if someone found out about this too? What if the villagers got sick? Unable to stay in bed, Neka decided to keep watch. She sat by her window, staring at her mother's door. Hours passed, and just when Neka thought her mother might stay in, the door creaked open. Mama Neka stepped out, carrying the same black wrapper and big sack. This time, Neka didn't hesitate. She grabbed her small lantern and followed her mother, staying far enough behind to avoid being seen. Mama Neka went a different way this time. Instead of heading to the graveyard, she walked toward the forest. The trees were tall and the night was dark, but Neka kept going, her little lantern lighting the way. In the middle of the forest, Mama Neka stopped. She placed the sack on the ground and began digging. Neka crept closer, hiding behind a bush. Suddenly, Mama Neka froze and looked around. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice sharp. Neka held her breath, her heart pounding. She tried to stay as still as possible, but her lantern slipped from her hands and hit the ground with a loud clunk. Mama Neka's eyes narrowed as she walked toward the bush. "Come out now, or I'll find you myself," she warned. Neka knew she couldn't hide any longer. She slowly stood up, trembling. "It's me, Mama," she said in a small voice. Mama Neka's face softened with surprise. "Neka, what are you doing here?" I saw you last night," Neka stammered. "I know about the dead bodies." For a moment, Mama Neka didn't say anything. Then she sighed deeply and sat down on a log. "Come here, Neka," she said quietly. Neka hesitated but stepped closer. Mama Neka looked her daughter in the eyes. "There are things you don't understand, my child. Things I've done to keep us alive." "What do you mean?" Neka asked, her voice shaking. Mama Neka took a deep breath. "The meat, it's not just for the stew. It's for protection. The spirits demand it. If I stop, they will come for us." Neka's eyes widened. "Spirits? What spirits?" Mama Neka's gaze shifted to the dark trees around them. "The spirits of the forest. They keep our family safe, but they need an offering. This is the only way." Neka didn't know what to believe. Was her mother telling the truth, or was this just an excuse? She felt more confused than ever. Just then, a strange sound echoed through the forest. It was a low, rumbling growl that made the ground shake. Mama Neka stood up quickly, her face pale. "They are here," she whispered. Neka froze as the growling grew louder, echoing through the dark forest. The sound seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. She grabbed her mother's hand tightly. "Mama, what is that?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Mama Neka didn't answer. Her eyes darted around, searching the shadows. "Stay close to me, Neka," she said firmly. "And don't make a sound." The growling stopped suddenly, replaced by an eerie silence. Neka's heart raced as she clung to her mother. Then, out of the shadows, a tall figure emerged. It was covered in leaves and mud, with glowing red eyes that seemed to pierce the darkness. Neka gasped, but Mama Neka quickly covered her mouth. "Quiet, child," she hissed. The figure stepped closer, its footsteps heavy on the forest floor. It stopped in front of Mama Neka and tilted its head, as if studying her. "You are late," the figure said in a deep, rumbling voice. Mama Neka bowed her head. "Forgive me, Great One. I was delayed. The figure's glowing eyes shifted to Neka. "And who is this?" it asked. Neka felt her knees go weak. She wanted to run, but her mother held her family. "This is my daughter," Mama Neka said quickly. "She is young and does not understand our ways." The figure leaned down, its face inches from Neka's. "She should not be here," it growled. "I know," Mama Neka said, her voice trembling. "It won't happen again. Please, allow me to make my offering." The figure straightened up and stepped back. "Very well," it said. "But remember, Mama Neka, the spirits are watching. Do not test their patience." Mama Neka nodded and opened the sack she had brought. Inside were pieces of meat wrapped in banana leaves. She placed them on the ground and bowed her head again. The figure waved its hand, and the meat disappeared in an instant. "Your offering is accepted," it said. "But the child, she has seen too much." Neka's eyes widened in fear. "Mama," she cried, gripping her mother's arm. "Please, Great One." Mama Neka begged. "She is just a child. I will make sure she forgets what she has seen." The figure was silent for a long moment. Then it said, "Very well. But if she speaks of this to anyone, the spirits will come for her." "I understand," Mama Neka said, bowing deeply. The figure turned and disappeared into the shadows, leaving the forest silent once again. Neka clung to her mother, tears streaming down her face. "Mama, what just happened? Who was that?" Mama Neka sighed and pulled her daughter close. "I'll explain everything when we get home," she said softly. "But for now, you must promise me something." "What?" Neka asked, wiping her tears. "You must never tell anyone what you saw tonight. Do you understand?" Neka hesitated, but she nodded. "I promise, Mama." They walked back to the village in silence. Neka's mind was spinning with questions, but she was too scared to ask. What had her mother gotten them into? And what would happen if the spirits decided they weren't safe after all? When they got home, the first rays of sunlight were peeking over the horizon. The village roosters crowed loudly, but Neka felt no comfort in the new day. Her legs were heavy, and her heart was full of fear. Mama Neka shut the door behind them and leaned against it, her face pale and tired. She looked at her daughter, who sat on a small wooden stool, trembling. "Neka," Mama Neka said gently, "you've seen things that most people never see. But now you must understand why I do this." Neka nodded slowly, though her mind was filled with questions. "Mama, who was that thing in the forest? And why do you give them dead people?" Mama Neka sat down across from her and sighed deeply. "Many years ago, before you were born, our family faced terrible trouble. Your father," she stopped, her voice catching, and wiped her eyes. "Papa?" Neka whispered. "Yes, your papa. He owed a lot of money to some wicked men in the city. When he couldn't pay them back, they came here and threatened to kill us all. I didn't know what to do, so I went to the forest to pray. I cried and begged the spirits to help us." Neka's eyes widened. "And they helped you?" Mama Neka nodded. "The spirits agreed to protect us, but they asked for something in return. They wanted me to bring them bodies from the graveyard. They said they needed the bodies for their power. At first, I refused, but when the men came back to harm us, the spirits drove them away. After that, I had no choice. I had to keep my promise." "But why do you cook the meat, Mama?" Neka asked, her voice shaking. Mama Neka looked down at her hands. "It was the spirit's idea. They said the meat must be shared with the people, so the spirits could watch over the whole village. They believe the stew connects everyone to their power. Neka felt her stomach turn. So everyone in the village has been eating dead people. Mama Neka nodded solemnly. Yes, but they don't know. And they must never find out, Neka. If they do, the spirits will be angry. They will punish us all. Neka didn't know what to say. She wanted to run far away, but where would she go? This was her home, and her mother was all she had. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Mama Neka froze. Who is it? She called out, trying to sound calm. It's me, Papa Ifani, came a voice from outside. Mama Neka opened the door slightly. Oh, Papa Ifani, good morning. What brings you here so early? Papa Ifani stepped inside, looking worried. Mama Neka, something strange happened last night. My son Chijok came home late from his friend's house, and he said he saw a big, scary figure with glowing eyes near the forest. He said it was carrying a sack. Neka's heart skipped a beat. She glanced at her mother, who kept a calm face. Children have wild imaginations, Mama Neka said with a laugh. Perhaps Chijok was dreaming. But Papa Ifani shook his head. He wasn't dreaming, Mama Neka. He's been shaking all morning, and he refuses to go outside. Do you think it could be a spirit? Mama Neka forced a smile. I wouldn't worry, Papa Ifani. The spirits of this village are kind. They protect us. Papa Ifani didn't look convinced, but he nodded. I hope you're right. If something is wrong, the village elders must know. As soon as Papa Ifani left, Mama Neka locked the door and turned to Neka. Listen to me, she said in a low voice. No one can know what you saw last night. If they do, the spirits will come for all of us. Do you understand? Neka nodded quickly, but her mind was racing. She knew the spirits were real, and she knew they were dangerous. But what if someone else saw them? What if the village elders started asking questions? The spirits weren't just watching Mama Neka anymore. Now, they were watching Neka too. The days that followed were tense for Neka. She avoided the villagers as much as possible, afraid someone might ask her questions. At home, Mama Neka went about her cooking as usual, but the cheerful hum in her voice was gone. The warning from the forest still hung heavy in the air. One evening, as Neka was fetching water from the village stream, she overheard two women talking. Have you heard? One of them whispered. Papa Ifani said there's a spirit haunting the forest. Yes, the other woman replied. They say it comes out at night, glowing like fire. The elders are planning to hold a meeting to ask the gods for protection. Neka's stomach tightened. If the elders started asking questions, it wouldn't be long before they discovered her mother's secret. That night, Neka couldn't take it anymore. She sat down in the kitchen and looked at her mother, who was stirring a pot of stew. Mama, she said softly, we have to stop this. It's wrong. Mama Neka sighed and put down her spoon. I know it's hard for you to understand, Neka, but the spirits saved our lives. If we stop, they'll come for us. But Mama, Neka said, her voice shaking, isn't it better to face the truth than to live in fear? What if the spirits hurt someone else? What if the villagers find out? They'll never forgive us. Mama Neka stared at her daughter for a long moment. Then, tears filled her eyes. You're right, my child, she said quietly. This has gone too far. I thought I was protecting us, but I've only brought more danger. The next night, Mama Neka and Neka returned to the forest. Mama Neka carried a pot of stew as an offering, but this time, she had a different plan. They reached the spot where the glowing-eyed figure had appeared before. "Great One," Mama Neka called out, her voice steady. "I have come to speak with you." The air grew cold, and the figure emerged from the shadows, its red eyes glowing fiercely. "Why are you here?" it growled. Mama Neka stepped forward. "I can no longer serve you. I will not bring you more bodies, and I will not feed the village you're cursed to." The figure let out a deep, rumbling laugh. "You dare defy the spirits? Do you know what will happen if you break our pact?" "Yes," Mama Neka said, her voice firm. "But I would rather face your wrath than live with this guilt. My daughter has shown me that fear is no way to live." The figure stepped closer, towering over them. "Then you will pay the price." Before Neka could scream, a strong wind blew through the forest. The glowing-eyed figure disappeared, and the air grew warm again. Mama Neka collapsed to her knees, clutching her chest. "Mama!" Neka cried, rushing to her side. "I'm fine," Mama Neka said weakly. "But the spirits are gone. They've left this place." From that day on, Mama Neka stopped cooking the cursed stew. She confessed her deeds to the village elders, and though the villagers were horrified at first, they eventually forgave her when they learned she had done it to protect her family. Mama Neka spent the rest of her life teaching Neka and the villagers that courage and honesty are stronger than fear and secrets. Moral lesson. The story teaches us that living in fear and keeping secrets to avoid consequences can lead to even greater harm. Facing the truth with courage, even when it's difficult, is the first step toward freedom and redemption.